Well, here we are again, and unfortunately once again we're making a video at night because it seems to be the only time things quiet down enough around here for us to get a video made. So due to the lack of light, the video runs kind of slow. So anyway, we'll just have to tolerate that for now. And today, or in this video anyway, we're going to talk about how we met. Nancy's Web did a video about how she met her husband, and she requested people respond to that by telling how they met their spouses. So since we're both part of YouTube, we figured we'd do an MTSquared where we tell about how we met. So I'll start out by saying that I pretty much initiated the whole thing because at the time, which was back in, well, let's see, early 1994, January probably, I was working as a security officer, and I worked the evening shift 4 to midnight, and I worked all during the week, or most of the week, and I worked the weekends too, so I really didn't have a chance to get out much in the evenings or even go to any church functions or anything like that where I could really meet anybody. So and I was living in a city that wasn't my hometown, and I just was really having a hard time getting to know people, making friends, and certainly not doing very well in regards to trying to find somebody to date. So I ended up taking out one of these singles ads in the newspaper at the time. They didn't, really didn't have all the fancy online stuff going then, so I did a newspaper ad, and at the time I think I just put in something like 25-year-old Christian male, loves kids, whatever, looking for somebody, whatever. I'm not sure exactly what I said. But anyway, I probably had 10, 15 women who responded to the ad, and one of them was Martha, and she was one of really only a couple who sounded interesting enough for me to even want to try and meet. So that's what got me started, and I'll let you go ahead.
Well, I had gotten divorced and needed to move out of the town that I was in because small towns tend to get even smaller after you get divorced. So my son and I moved out to Fargo, actually, and I went on 4 of my 5 horrendous blind dates while I was there. And if you watched that video at all, you probably know why I had kind of given up on dating and stuff. So in July of that year, before I met Mike, I pretty much had given up, and I turned it over to God and just said, you know what, you're going to have to do this because it's not working out for me. So happened to meet my cousin over Christmas, and she said that she had met her husband through a singles ad, and they had been married at that time then about 3 years. So when I went back home after Christmas, I decided I'd give it a chance. Well, connected with a couple that just were not the right kind of person, and so I decided to quit trying to look through ads, or quit trying to meet people, but I kept reading the ads. So read a few more, never called anyone, and then I saw what would be Mike's ad, but I didn't call. I thought, nope, I'm not going to do this again. So then I waited a week, and it was in again the second week. So the second week I called, and I listened. You could leave a message, a verbal message, and he had. So I called and I listened to the message, but I didn't respond. So I didn't think I was going to respond at all, and then I did, and so I answered his ad, and he called me back.
And I should probably say that at this point in my life, I had really come to a place as well where I'd gone through some bad relationships, and I was really frustrated and tired of trying to figure it all out my own way, I guess. So I too had kind of turned it over to God at this point, and that's kind of was part of my logic behind doing the singles ad. Was I just kind of put it out there and was kind of like, well, God, I'm asking you to bring me the right person. So that's kind of where I was at too. And so anyway, I went through these messages, and she was one. Like I said, she was one of only a couple people who really sounded interesting to me. And I made a couple calls and set up some. Actually, there was probably more than a couple. There was a few, but I set up some dates that didn't really work out well. And but with Martha, we didn't set up a date right away. We just kind of started out talking on the phone, and for about a week or so, we talked on the phone every night for about 3 hours at a shot. And after about a week or so, we finally decided we should meet. So
not willingly.
Not willingly, yeah. She.
It was going really well on the phone, and that I was hesitant to meet someone.
Yeah. So, when we finally arranged this and squared away that we were going to have a date, we were going to finally meet, she said, well, there's one thing I got to tell you, just so you're prepared. She said, I'm not skinny. So, of course, right away I got this image in my head of like this 500-pound mega woman. Fortunately, that wasn't the case, and she wasn't that heavy at all, really, but she thought she was, I guess. But anyway, so we finally had this first date, and we had it the day before Valentine's Day on February 13th. And the date started off kind of slow.
We went to Chili's.
Yeah, we went to Chili's and we
Didn't talk much.
Talked very little, which felt really weird because we'd been talking great all week over the phone, and now here we were face to face, and we both felt like a couple idiots. I tried to get her to go bowling, but she didn't want to go bowling on a first date. So
if you've ever seen me bowl, you would never want me bowling on the first date. Not if I want the second date.
So we finally ended up deciding to rent a movie, and we rented a movie and went back to her place and watched the movie, which was
Sleepless in Seattle.
Sleepless in Seattle, and
which is all about fate.
Yeah, and so after the movie was over, she asked me if I believed in fate, and that kind of got our wheels of conversation going again, and things just kind of took off from there. We kind of found our rhythm again, and that we'd had on the phone, and the relationship grew from there. There's a lot more we could say, but we're running low on time. So I'll sum it up to say that we dated for about a month before we decided to get married. And it was only, 3-4 months before we actually did get married. And I don't know, you want to add anything to that? Okay, so that's our story, and 12 and a half years later, we're still together. So that's it for now. Bye.